Welcome back to Become a Bat. This is our 43rd episode. I'm your host, Tom.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're going to finish off Batman number 11 and 1942 as a whole.
I'm excited.
Yeah, 1943 is just around the corner, although we already dipped our toes in it with Detective Comics. This is a kind of a catch-up. Yeah.
They don't need to know.
So today we're going to be covering third story, Bandits in Toyland, and story number 4, Four Birds of a Feather. They saved that for 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Story number 4, Four Birds.
Yep.
Right.
So anything we gotta announce before we get jumping into it?
Announce.
Actually, you know what? So on Thursday we're going to be dropping in our first episode of Behind the Bat.
Mm-hmm.
We're just winging it. No pun intended. Just gonna be kind of like a catch-all, just talking about whatever's going on this week, or whatever what games we're playing.
Why don't you just call the bonus podcast Winging It?
Winging it. That's actually that is a good idea.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I'll call it. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm kind of partial to Behind the Bat.
I like Behind the Bat.
Keeping it up with the branding.
What is Behind the Bat?
You'll have to find out on this Thursday. All right. So starting off, we're gonna go with story number 3, Bandits in Toyland.
Yes, this is story number 3 from Batman 11, Bandits in Toyland, written by Edmund Hamilton. Do you know anything about Edmund Hamilton?
I briefly looked into him. He was just like a sci-fi writer, and I think he did a lot of Legion of the Superheroes.
So they were like, we want something a little weirder than usual.
Yeah, he was an old guy.
Yeah.
I think he was like 40 when he did this too. Like he was old.
Dang. Probably feel like an old man around that, like
Yeah.
all those other young guys. Anyways, art by Bob Kane, Jerry Robinson, and George Russo, just the usual suspects. The splash page, this one is quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It is a man, yet to be named, playing with army tanks and army soldiers that are shooting at him, and one of them just hit him in the eye with a projectile. And he's opening up a bag of toys, and inside that bag of toys is a toy Batman and a toy Robin.
Yeah, like they look like they're made out of like wood because they got the wood joints.
Yeah, they
and-
like those flat arms with screws holding them in.
Yeah, this is like the first one where it's like actually like thematically appropriate that it's like large person, small Batman and Robin and things.
I didn't even think about that. And the one that it's actually appropriate, Batman and Robin don't really feature heavily in it.
Yeah.
What a shame.
Yep.
And then on the wall in the background, it says R.H. Stacy's Toys Department Store.
Yep.
Yay.
That will play into the plot.
Mm-hmm. It's an interesting cover, but it could be done a lot better. Will you stop the cat who's behind you? Yeah, where is she? We have to kick him out of here.
Stop it. Want me to pause it?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Yes, I have a cat. Usually he's locked out of here. Anyways, would you like to read the blurb?
Yeah, let me give this a shot here. In the law courts of the land, men are often weighed on the scales of justice and rightfully found wanting. But sometimes those delicate scales are tilted by a human hand with a sinister purpose, and innocent man's life is forever ruined. Oh, and an innocent man's life is forever ruined. As a mighty barrier against these errors of justice looms the stalwart, caped form of the Batman. Follow him now on a mission of mercy as he and Robin set out on the high-tension adventure of Bandits in Toyland.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. Kind of messed up there, but
It's
fine.
all good. It happens a lot. I think you've read it completely through without messing up like 3 times, 4 times at this point.
Yeah, I missed that and like that sentence doesn't make sense, and then I had to relook at it.
It happens a lot where they don't quite make sense, or they're
Mhm.
just really hard to follow.
I get the impression that they like. I get the impression that he just kind of like wrote it in one shot.
I get that too. All right, here we go. When our story begins, Batman and Robin are training in their gym. They're practicing tackles and holds and acrobatic maneuvers. Once finished, they have changed back into their garbs. Oh my god, I can't believe I screwed that up. Once finished, they change back into their alter egos. Dick spots a couple of newspapers and comments on the headlines. It seems like gangsters have been stealing toys from children. According to the articles, one of the men is most likely a member of Muscles Malone's gang. Muscles with air quotes.
Yep. It's got that alliteration going on too.
Right. Bruce starts to explain how weird it is for Muscles to commit such petty crimes when the doorbell rings and he's handed jury duty summons. Looks like Bruce will be tied up and busy, and Robin will be the one doing the patrolling. At the courthouse, Bruce watches the drama play out. Tom Willard stands accused of stealing $200,000 worth of gems from one Mr. Burton. It seems as though a number of gems from Mr. Burton's shop have been stolen and replaced with cleverly made counterfeits. When he and the store detective went and searched the employee locker room, they found some gems in Tom's coat pocket. Therefore, they assumed that he was the thief. Bruce notices some of Muscle's thugs among the spectators. They're laughing about something, so he reads their lips and discovers that Tom has been framed. When the jury goes to cast their votes, Bruce is the only one who votes innocent, so the jury is hung and forced to stay at a hotel for the night. The rest of the jury is upset with Bruce for keeping them there overnight, but Bruce refuses to give in. He sneaks out of the hotel, disguised as Batman, and goes after the two gangsters from the courtroom earlier. Across town, Robin gets restless and puts down his homework. He decides to take the Batmobile out and try to impress Bruce by solving the case himself. He trails Muscles Malone to figure out how he is really connected to the case. When Muscles pulls a gun on an old man, Robin intervenes, bursting through a window and attacking Malone with his thugs. After a few moments, though, Malone is able to subdue Robin. The two gangsters that Batman followed earlier put up a front. Oh, man. I should have proofread this. The two gangsters that Batman followed earlier pull up in front of Muscles Malone's place and see him dragging some kid around the playground. They take off on foot to see what's the matter. Batman pops out of their trunk discreetly and reveals that he's been following the men. He notices Robin in the distance and takes off for Robin. He jumps into the fray without a moment's hesitation and starts throwing punches and kicks. Robin is surprised to see him, but they work together to take down as many of Muscles' men as possible before the rest flee. Luckily, Batman overheard the men in the car discussing their plan, and he knows that they have two more stops. He and Robin split up and each take one location. Batman goes to the dollhouse, also air quotes, and Robin goes to Hendrik's mansion. Inside the dollhouse, an eccentric old lady known only as Grandma is playing with her life-size dolls and dioramas. She's getting ready to turn in for the night when Muscles breaks into her place, ties her up, and takes her Betsy Ross doll. Batman gets there a little late and bursts into the room just in time to subdue two of the thugs. He promises to bring her doll back as he takes off to join Robin at the next house. When he arrives, Robin is tied up. I said matches. It's supposed to be Muscles. And Muscles has some rich kid hostage. He's grilling him about a toy submarine, which the kid says he returned to the store because it just didn't work. Batman arrives just in time to free Robin and fight off some of the thugs, but not soon enough to stop Muscles from leaving the toy store to revive. What is wrong with me today?
Just not on your game.
No. It's probably all the spray paint from earlier. Anyways, Batman arrives just in time to free Robin and fight off some of the thugs, but not soon enough to stop Muscles from leaving the toy store to retrieve the returned submarine. The dynamic duo takes off for the toy store to put an end to this once and for all. They show up on the scene, and Muscles and his men are hassling the toy store owner about the submarine. One of the men locates it, and then they are about to leave when Batman and Robin show up and start a fight. They use toys to trip up the men and knock them out, and then extract the plan from another. He says that Muscles and his men stole all the gems and hid them inside the toys. That way they could go back and purchase the toys later and leave the building without anybody knowing that they had taken the gems. But unfortunately, some of the toys had been purchased before they could get their hands on them, so they had to steal them back from those people. Now that they have the proof, Bruce comes up with a plan to make sure Tom Ward is declared innocent. The next day, when he's back at jury duty, he votes guilty against Tom, but tells his fellow jurors that he maintains his stand on Tom's innocence. He just says guilty so that they can all go home finally. As they file out into the courtroom and the bailiff reads the guilty verdict, a cop comes running in with a box for the judge. It's an urgent matter that needs to be seen immediately. When he opens the box, a giant bat flies out. Inside is a letter from Batman proving Tom's innocence. When the judge asks the cop if it's all true, the cop says yes. The judge immediately discharges the case and dismisses the court. Tom is now free. He embraces his wife, and Bruce smiles at a job well done. The end.
It's kind of interesting the contrast between the story matter, like okay, like with jury duty being like one of the markers of like the most boring things you could do as an adult,
Yeah,
and the childish nature of like all the toys.
definitely. Well, it's not like Batman takes his jury duty all that seriously. He's like doing jury duty as Bruce Wayne, and he's like, I'm not going to interfere.
Yeah,
And then he does anyways. He just suits up like Batman and goes and takes it into his own hands.
he's so compelled to.
And then he goes back and says, guilty,
Yeah,
because he knows that the guy's going to be proven innocent anyways.
yeah. That I don't think you can like. I know like this is a story, but I think you would get in trouble if you would say I think he's guilty. No, if you vote guilty, but you're like I think he's innocent.
He's,
I
yeah,
I don't think you can do that.
probably not. I think they would be like, okay, that's still innocent
Yeah.
until you really believe he's guilty. We can't make this like it. But then again, like I've seen courtroom dramas where they're just like, like there's two people who are on the fence and they're like, you need to decide so we can go home.
Yeah.
And they basically like blackmail them into saying guilty or innocent.
Mm-hmm.
So
And there's the whole like 12 Angry Men.
yeah,
though-
or 12 Angry Jurors.
Well, it's the story's called 12 Angry Men, but
Oh,
they've
yeah.
updated it a bunch of times. I'm sure you've like if you haven't seen like the original story, I mean the original movie or the play, you've probably seen like a variation on it, like in a cartoon or like they did a version of it in like King of the Hill.
I actually acted in an adaptation of that play
Oh.
in either elementary or middle school.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I was the juror with the accent.
Oh, hopefully it wasn't like racially insensitive, but
No, it was Bella Lugosi's accent.
oh, okay,
Because I love Bella
perfect.
Lugosi.
Have you ever been like? Have you gone on jury duty?
No, not yet.
Really?
Yeah, I've
Hmm.
actually had jury duty summons 3 times, and every time I get like let off or something.
Yeah, usually I've been summoned, got the summon like notice 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, the first two I got like they say call the day before, see if you're still like if you've been dismissed or not.
Yeah.
And I've been dismissed. One of them would have been on 9/11 of all days.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Not 2001, but like later down the line.
Mm-hmm.
The third one, I actually did have to go in. So it's at the municipal court, and I'm sitting there. And this was actually, ironically, while I was still working for the superior court.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there the whole time, and I'm waiting for them to like call us up and go into the thing. And we like and it's really boring. There's like they have a DVD player and like a movie playing. I can't remember what the movie was. It was actually not a bad movie. It was just kind of like they have to keep because they don't want anything like political or incisive before you go into jury duty. Like they make it like try to pick like the most bland kind of like
Yeah, like
movie possible.
super generic.
Something
Like
something
The
just
Hangover or something.
something just non-objectable.
Yeah.
So it was this movie. It was actually a good movie. It was like with Dev Patel, and he's like a young aspiring chef. Him and his family moved from India to England.
Good for Dev Patel.
He's a great actor.
He is, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, good for him for getting his movie into the superior, or sorry, the municipal court.
Well, I don't think he personally had a hand in it.
So
But yeah,
funny.
actually, I think Oprah she like funded the movie. Anyways,
Wow.
it's just about him like becoming like a famous chef, and
Yeah.
it was actually a pretty good movie. And then they put on like that movie ended, and then they put on Sully, and I'm like, oh, I've been wanting to watch Sully.
Yeah. And they
And-
were like, okay, guys, we're ready.
Well, no, 20 minutes in, they come in and say, okay, they settled, and we don't have any more cases for the day, so you're all dismissed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I still haven't like actually been in the actual court as a juror yet.
One of my friends, who shall not be named, did end up on jury duty for like a murder case.
Ooh.
And it took them 2 weeks
Yeah.
of like minimal pay, missing
Mhm.
work the whole time, being super frustrated. But they said it was really compelling and they enjoyed being there. They just sucked because like they couldn't go to work and they didn't get paid as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I got like a check for like $25.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
But luckily, even though I was working at the court, they recognized that, and I got paid like my full day. Like,
Some
so-
companies will do that, and others
but
won't.
I did have to go back into like, I had to go back into work because it was like half, it was like halfway through the day.
Yeah.
So like I took lunch and then had to finish my day off at another court.
Dude, if you're hourly employee, not many places will pay you while you're at jury duty.
Yeah.
But
it
if you're
sucked.
salaried, you get paid for both, which is cool.
Yeah.
But if you're hourly, if you try to get paid while doing jury duty, even if you try to do PTO, you can get fired.
Yeah. I'm sure it depends on the company, but yeah, it sucks ass.
Does.
It's not, they should really fix that.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Pay jurors better money. If you want us to actually be jurors, pay better.
Well, that's the other thing too is like for the murder, like when you do get called up, like say for a murder case or something like kind of
Yeah.
I don't know how it is in municipal court. It just kind of seemed like whatever, that's more for like car accidents and little petty fines.
Right.
But for like in the superior court, they have jury selection.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when like the lawyers come in and they actually like question you and get your background. And if you are too smart or you have an education, they're gonna deny you because like
Yeah, I heard that.
yeah, typically if you're more educated, you're probably gonna side more towards
Mm-hmm.
the defendant.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, it's on a case by case basis.
I heard
but
they also won't take you if you're like biased in any way.
yeah, yeah, like that is like an obvious one, and there's a lot of people who are like saying, "Oh, I'll just fake being racist," but
Yeah, good luck.
yeah, you don't want to like be on record saying I'm like a racist.
You get like, I'm gonna fake being racist, then you get in there and the guy interviewing you is like is like another race, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a good look, but
Just don't do it. Don't do it.
But yeah, generally, like, I don't know. It depends on how ever gets. You know what? I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything that anyone might hear in the future. Any other thoughts on this one?
My thought that I wrote was Batman sure likes to intervene with the law.
Yeah.
He's like officially recognized right now. Like he can actually do these things. Like his normal like crime busting.
Yeah.
But he still goes even farther and intervenes in a court case that he's personally a part of.
That is true. That is like, I don't even know how. You know what though?
What?
I think he'd be fine because even if he did get outed as Batman and they figure out what he did here in the court, what are they going to charge him with? Because this
being a badass.
Yeah, this is like such a crazy, unique thing that like they wouldn't be able to like even bring charges.
No, but they could write a story where they're like, where Batman gets brought into court because they find out he's Bruce Wayne, and they just like put all the charges against him that he's ever like for every crime he's ever committed. That would be insane.
That would be crazy.
He would go to jail for the rest of his life.
And a lot of people would get out of prison because.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that? Batman goes to jail and so do all of his accomplices. So like Batgirl, Robin, all the Robins, Alfred, like Azrael, like literally everybody.
There was a Batman story in like I think the 90s where Batman got jury duty.
I think I've read that actually.
Yeah, and then like because he swore the oath not to lie when they asked him who he was. He said Batman, and everybody laughed.
It's true. He is Batman. They don't know
Yeah.
shit.
Yep.
He's more Batman than Bruce Wayne.
Yep.
By the way, we'll get into the next issue here, but you should read Batman: The Last Arkham if you haven't read it. It's the one where he goes on trial and they declare him criminally insane and he gets put in Arkham.
Ooh, I think you've told me about that one before.
It's the first like 5 issues of Batman: Shadow of the Bat.
Ooh, okay.
Phenomenal.
So like
You can just
mid to late 80s.
No, like early 90s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Really, really good. Great
I'll
art
have to
too.
find it.
Yeah. All right, let's get in these panels.
Yeah, we don't have too many panels this time.
There's not a lot of thoughts. This is
No.
one of those thinking issues. So
Yeah.
like you don't really have to think that much.
Oh, real
It
quick,
kinda
real
just
quick,
spells it out for you.
Real quick before we get in the panels, one last thought was
What?
that the kid had like a weird BDSM trap thing. Like what the hell was that? What was up with that?
I don't know. As soon as I saw that kid, it made me think of a movie that I was watching recently. I wish I could tell you what movie it was.
I was thinking not specifically, but he reminded me like Kevin McAllister was like having like all these toys and like beating up criminals with them but like and traps. But
I could
that
see
thing was
that.
weird.
No, man. When I figure out what movie this is, I'm gonna let you know, and you're gonna be
Okay.
like, "Wow, that's that kid from that movie."
Mm.
It's a creepy kid.
All right, back to panels.
Yeah. Okay. So first panel right here, big close up of Bruce Wayne. Did you pick this one too?
No, but I probably would have because he's got like that square jaw.
Yeah, it's it's probably the best look we've seen at Bruce Wayne so far.
Yeah.
And I know you put a picture of him in like 2 episodes ago because that
Mhm.
was the best look, but honestly, this is. And he looks exactly like Batman from the animated series.
Yeah.
Like that Bruce Wayne, exactly.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Put on that ugly brown coat on him, and yeah,
I kind of want to just like Photoshop the animated series cowl over his face just to like prove it to myself.
yeah.
It's awesome. I like that he wears he always wears blue blazers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It matches the Batman outfit.
Yep. It's the exact same color. I know. I love that kind of callback stuff. And then the next panel, that's you. That's definitely you.
No, you picked that one too.
Wait, are you sure?
Yeah, I picked the last two. This is the next two actually.
Oh, okay. I know why I picked this one. You're right. I didn't pick it because of the image. That's why it was throwing me off.
Mm.
Because all it is the guy pointing the gun at Batman while Batman's like coming down on a rope and he's
Mhm.
like scaling a wall, and he's like, "One bullet in your throat." But why I picked it is because the caption on the bottom of the panel says, I'll just read the whole caption from
Yeah.
the top to the bottom. It says, "And just then, by an unlucky twist of fate, the valiant crime fighter skids over a toy." And then it says, "and stares into the yawning mouth of death." So I guess he's not holding. It looks like he's holding something, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, he's grabbing the rope, but
Okay, so what happens is
string.
he steps on a toy, he trips and falls, but he grabs the string on the way down. But why I picked it is the yawning mouth of death, which is the barrel of a gun.
yeah,
It's just a really interesting way to describe the
is.
barrel of a gun.
Could you imagine if like he didn't pull that string and like this is why he died? He tripped on a toy car and got shot.
That would be terrible.
All right. So the last two panels I chose. The first one is of the guy, like I can't remember his name, but it just I really like the shots, just like the really detailed shots, like the ugly like mobsters.
Yeah, that's happened in a couple other issues that we read. Remember
Yeah.
where they're just like, "Brah," and you see like all the wrinkles and all the stubble on their face, and they just look
Yeah.
crazy.
He's got like the flop sweat on.
Yeah,
Yeah, like just that's a good shot. And then after that was the one where he went into the old lady's like room, like and then she got like the criminals to like put their hands up because like they heard the sound effect of the toy, and like Batman was just really amused that like this is what like
that it
foiled
actually
him.
worked.
Yeah, it's
He's
pretty
like,
great.
Wow, they are really stupid.
Yeah, it's great.
I thought that the whole concept of having this lady who's
Mhm.
unnamed who has a mansion called the Dollhouse where she just spends all day playing with giant dolls that are like the same size as human beings
Yeah,
is a little disturbing.
yeah. Like
She should be locked up in Arkham Asylum.
she definitely should be a character who should return.
I agree.
Yep. Speaking of return, we will return right after this break. And guess who's making his return? It's the Penguin.
I was gonna say I already know.
Yeah. It's good to see him again. And there's some nice little bits of continuity with this one too. Did you notice that?
I did. And you know what?
Yeah.
I'm an a-hole and I read ahead into the next issue.
Mm-hmm.
They do exactly what I said that they should do in the last episode.
Oh.
Remember when I was like, what if they did like straight up callbacks to actual cases that we've read about?
Yeah.
They do.
Oh.
So
that's gonna be
no
interesting.
spoilers, but it's an exciting thing. I can't
Alright.
wait to read it all the way through.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So, on to Four Birds of a Feather. Written by Bill Finger, art by Bob Gane, Jerry Robinson, and George Roussos.
Yeah.
And this splash page takes place inside of a giant bird cage with Batman struggling against the Penguin and Robin attacking a couple of Penguin's co-conspirators with
With bird-themed names.
bird-themed names. I really liked this crew.
I did too. You know what it reminded me of?
Hmm.
It's pretty obvious. The
The
Batman TV show.
Did they do an episode like this?
They always have, with the Joker usually,
Mm-hmm.
he has like another little like crime gang that he puts together and they all have different names that
Oh, oh.
correspond to a theme.
Yeah. I thought when you said the Batman TV show, I was thinking of like the 2000s cartoon.
No, like the Adam West show.
The Adam West. Yeah. That was like
Yeah.
their bread and butter.
We're starting to get into that kind of territory where they're copying things. I think
Mhm.
it started like a couple issues ago.
This one though, they felt like they were there was like a history there, which I really liked.
Yeah, there is a history. He's trying
Yeah.
to say that they're like his friends from the past.
Yeah, like they could have
But-
any one of these would have been like a different Batman villain.
Totally.
Yeah.
But they do that thing that they do in the Adam West show where the only female member of the gang is
Mhm.
like, "Oh, Batman's hot,"
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
And then he's like, "You're kind of hot too."
So before we spoil the whole thing, let's you want to read the
Yeah, I
the
do.
thing? All
I
right.
do. All right. What happens when crime sprouts wings? Meet the canary. She warbles a sweet song like the scheming sirens of old. Joe Crow, whose heart is as black as his namesake,
Buzzard Benny, big, brawny, beastly, and now the queerest bird of all, whose jovial manner bellies a racket hatching brain. Meet the infamous Umbrella Man, the Penguin. Yes, he's back to fly his feathered friends to a crime nest until the Batman and But why give the secret away? Read it yourself in this bizarre tale of Four Birds and a Feather.
Sounded like Diedrich Bader's Batman there.
That's what I was trying to do.
That's good.
I've been practicing that one.
That's good. So on to the synopsis. The story begins when the Penguin is picked up by a group of old friends, the Canary, Joe Crow, and Buzzard Benny. They're looking to do a new scheme in Florida, and Penguin is glad to join them. Meanwhile, Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson just so happen to be vacationing in Miami. They're out on a boat when they overhear a cry for help. A blonde woman is being dragged under by a giant squid. Bruce quickly puts on the Batman outfit and dives in to rescue her, and she's very grateful to be rescued. Later, Canary tells the boys how Batman saved her life. Much to Penguin's surprise, they decide to forget about Batman and focus on their venture, a corrupt gambling house. The police check up on the place, but are unable to find anything suspicious. The gambling tables have glass tops, no wires, making it impossible to be crooked, right?
Right.
The gambling house gains a reputation for being an honest place. A man finds himself a big winner at the roulette table. Penguin calls a cab to get him home safely. And before he drops him off, the cabbie, who's actually Buzzard, pulls a gun on him and takes his winnings. And soon Bruce Wayne finds himself at the gambling house. He recognizes the singer, Canary, as the woman that he just saved, but there's no way that she could recognize him. So Bruce gambles away some money at the roulette table and instantly realizes that it's rigged via an electromagnetic current.
I like how he's so smart. He's the only one to recognize this thing.
Yeah, I mean he's probably like gambled a bunch. He's like, that is moving very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of like instantly figures it
It's
out.
not his detective skills. It's his gambling experience.
Yeah, I bet also as Batman, he's probably like messed with like electromagnetic currents and stuff.
I bet Ben Affleck would also recognize that this table's rigged.
Yeah, definitely.
Continue.
He wins some cash, and he even recognizes Buzzard and Crow when they asked him where he's staying. So he gives him his temporary address, and then calls Dick to tell him that some folks are going to be stopping by the house to try to steal his money. So Bruce arrives at his lodging and is ambushed right as he expected. Robin jumps out of nowhere and ambushes the ambushers himself. Bruce slips out and Batman jumps right in. Penguin comes by and attempts to shoot Batman with an explosive shell. Batman slams into him, causing Penguin to hit a water tower. Penguin and his goons escape amidst the confusion. So later on, Crow and Penguin scheme to make a sudden departure in case Batman figures out where they're running this gambling den. They summon a boat racer and tell him to lose tomorrow's race, and they'll erase his gambling debt. They plan on betting against him and getting a big haul from the odds. Unbeknownst to them, Batman and Robin are outside listening to their plan. The next day, before the race, Batman knocks out the boat racer and steals the boat. He makes an exciting dash up and wins the race. Penguin sees this and makes a run for it. Batman chases alongside Penguin's car in the boat, with Robin being carried behind on a boogie board. Somehow, Penguin's goons manage to get a hold of Robin and kidnap him. Batman runs into the gambling den and sees Canary and Buzzard. Canary warns Batman about a trap that Penguin laid for him, but then suddenly, Buzzard gets 2 shots into Batman's side. Batman knocks out Buzzard. He's wounded, but that won't stop him from finding Robin. He gets to Penguin's location and musters all his strength to sneak in, untie Robin, take out Crow. Robin takes out the rest of the goons, but Penguin gets away, and then Batman passes out. Robin carries Batman outside in an effort to take him to the hospital, but a random hurricane stirs up. He ties himself and Batman to a palm tree to keep from blowing away. The storm lets up, and Canary drives by and gives them a ride to the hospital to save Batman. They get to the hospital, but it's overbooked, and no one can help Batman. So Canary decides to take matters into her own hands. She puts Batman on an operating table, That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, it
With
is.
Robin's assistance, and removes the bullets herself. While Batman recovers, Robin gets back to the birdhouse, knocks down Crow and Buzzard, takes them to jail, and then he drags Penguin to the hospital to see Batman. Canary swears that she's done with crime and decides to become a Red Cross nurse. She kisses Batman goodbye. Batman is about to take Penguin to jail, but he gives them the slip and carjacks a truck passing by. The end.
The end.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, as I was like saying, I do think that they could definitely like this is another like case of like they could bring them back for like a modern like Batman story.
Oh, totally. And I would definitely like that if they did that.
Yeah.
You know, I really like the moment where the cops are like at their gambling den and they're
Mhm.
like, "You guys, how is this for real? Like, how are you actually doing a legit gambling den?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know. Like, we're just losing money right and left. You know,
Yeah.
like we're so honest, we can't even barely keep in business."
We're not very good at this.
Yeah, and they're like, "Okay." Like, it definitely also feels like something from that show where they're just like, "Criminals, they're not criminals. Look, they're so honest."
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah. Like
no, you're just stupid cops.
pretty sure like Penguin's first like appearance in the show was he was like running a umbrella store,
Yeah.
and then like Bruce comes in to like buy something, and then Penguin's like he's obviously like a cop or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne totally would seem like a cop if you were anybody who had with even the slightest brain.
Yeah.
You know, he's just always looking at things and investigating things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They would have to if they brought this back. They would definitely probably have to come up with another bird for Canary.
Yeah.
Since there's already a black canary over here. I guess they could just call her a different kind of canary.
They already have black canary and white canary. Canary
Oh, yeah,
itself
yeah.
would be fine, I guess.
I guess, but like everyone else has like, was it Buzzard? Well, they all had like nicknames except for Penguin.
Yeah.
Joe Crow, Buzzard, Benny. They'd have to come up with something for Canary, like just to, like redo
Like
her.
Katie Canary or something.
Katie Canary, yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, they could do that.
Yeah,
It'd be fun. You write that story. All these ones where you wanted them to be a story, write them.
yeah, someday.
I could definitely think of a way to turn that old dollhouse lady into a story.
You know, it should revolve entirely around her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like she's secretly masterminding the whole thing.
Mm,
Maybe she's clairvoyant and her little miniature city has like Batman and Robin inside the Wayne Manor.
mm,
And she's got a little miniature Batcave
be
and everything.
interesting, yeah.
Right?
Did you play Resident Evil 8 yet, Village?
No.
Oh my god! If I had the PS4 version, I would let you borrow it. But I got it the PS5 and it won't like go backwards.
I'll play it eventually. I'll
There's-
play it soon. I'll play it this year, I swear.
There is an amazing part that takes place in like this dollhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to spoil it because it's just like it's worth playing on your own. Oh, it's so good.
Good to
Yeah,
know.
it's pretty freaky. Any other thoughts on this one?
This was the better of the two issues.
This was
Not just because it featured a supervillain, but I mean, because of the similarities to the TV show,
mm-hmm.
which, you know, in this case, it makes it the precursor, right? It's like
Yeah.
what it set the foundation for things that the TV show would then copy.
Yeah.
I really like it because of that. I like the themed gang.
Mm-hmm.
I like the romance, or if you even want to call it that, between Batman and Canary.
Yeah.
I like Robin having the opportunity to take charge, which he did in the last one too. You know, Robin needs to take charge more often.
He
But
does,
you know, in this one, the one thing that I was like really questioning was why did Canary pull the bullets out of Batman? We've already seen Robin pull the bullets out of Batman. Is it because they want to shy away from that and make people think that like Batman's not going to put kids in that type of situation anymore?
I think it was more just like, okay, this is an easy way to show her redemption.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
still, like, it makes Robin seem less capable. We already know he can do that.
Yeah, but also, I mean, you got to remember too. Like, I doubt anybody at this point had like read every single issue and like remembered it and are analyzing it like we are.
True.
So I
All
think-
the more reason for him to do it again.
Yeah,
But
so I
yeah.
think from the storyline perspective, like the story perspective, it makes sense. Just let her do it. Is a redemptive arc.
It's fine.
Yeah,
I got no problem with it. I guess Robin pulling the bullets out of Batman seems more like a Frank Miller thing to do,
yeah.
and less like a Golden Age Batman thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
But I mean, Robin like carrying Batman, like the dying Batman, and like tying him up to the tree during the hurricane was pretty awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
Robin has to be super freaking strong to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Batman's like twice as tall as him and twice as big as him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just knows how to like do that fireman's carry.
Yeah.
I do really like Penguin in this era. I did like before I knew like we started reading this. I really didn't know much about Penguin like this far.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that they're kind of making him like this like he almost like a hobo, but like he wanders around the U.S.
Yeah.
And he's actually smarter about it than like Joker, who like keeps going doing crimes in Gotham. Like he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm a good criminal. I go around the U.S., do like a business or a scheme,
Right.
and Batman won't be there. He's just unlucky because Batman just happens to be wherever he's going.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? I think Joker is a little bit of a self-sabotager in
Yeah.
these early comics on purpose.
Yeah.
Because he knows that while he's in jail, he'll get free food and free board, and he can just sit there and come up with crimes. And then as soon as he's got a good crime, he breaks out and does it.
Yeah.
You know?
He's active when he wants to be.
Right. Whereas Penguin's like active all the time, and he's
Mhm.
actively trying to avoid Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it seems like
Yeah.
the Joker goes out of his way to have confrontations with him,
Yeah.
even when he says he doesn't want to.
Yeah, like if Batman just hadn't just randomly been on vacation in Miami in this one, or
Right.
and like a few stories back where like Bruce Wayne and Dick were just on the train and they just saw Penguin standing there, like
Yeah.
he would have got away with all this. This would have been like a perfect crime.
I would love to read a modern readaptation of this story
Mm-hmm.
where
Yeah.
Batman's in Miami and he's just like, "Holy crap, it's humid. Get me out of this suit."
Yeah. So like in light of like the early roots of Penguin, it's just kind of like it's interesting that like usually now like the modern interpretations are like, okay, he's very much based in Gotham and he runs a joint, so he's like rooted in one specific like
Yeah.
club.
The Iceberg Lounge.
Yeah.
And
so
he's way more serious nowadays. Every
Yeah.
character's way more serious nowadays.
yeah.
There's no more jokiness.
Well, the new he was very kind of not he was kind of jokey in the Batman.
Yeah. Not the new line of comics that we just read.
No,
where
no.
He like faked his death and all that. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
He's very serious there. He's almost like the Danny DeVito Penguin.
Yeah, I mean the Danny DeVito Penguin was very like melodramatic
Yeah.
and
Because he's Danny DeVito.
yeah, I mean like he's very cartoonish in appearance
Yeah.
in his actions, but he like there's like a what's that word I'm thinking, like modeling. You know what I'm talking about? Like he's very like moody too, and like,
yeah. He's really self-aware and he's like playing into his persona.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also like pretty much like scheming too,
Yeah.
but and then Colin Farrell was kind of like
He's just a gangster.
he does actually kind of remind me of this now that I'm thinking about this. Just
Yeah.
kind of like
He doesn't have that cartoony penguin-y look.
Yeah.
Yet. Like maybe he will by the end of that show that they're doing.
I mean, he's still kind of like grotesque, but not like
Yeah.
he still looks like a plausible human.
Maybe they'll lean into like the whole like top hat and like tails code and all that later in
Maybe.
the show. We'll see. I feel like the show is trying to bridge the gap between like the dead serious noir nature of the movie and
Mhm.
like in the comic books. And like they're going to, by the time they get to like the third one of these movies, bring it more in line with the comic books. Right?
Maybe
We'll see.
we'll see if whenever that comes out. I know like I think they're done filming it, so
Yeah.
we'll take a look. Let's get into the panels.
Let's.
All right. So you got the first one here.
Yes. The Birdhouse Front, a nightclub. It's just Canary singing, and Bruce Wayne is sitting at a table, and he's like, "Well, fan me with a crowbar." Who says that?
That is a great phrase.
That's the karma. That's why Jason Todd got killed, because you said "fan me with a crowbar."
Oh God.
The bathing beauty I saved from the squid, but business before pleasure. There's twice in this issue where he makes a comment about how hot she is,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's like, "Nah,
No,
forget about it."
no, she lives in Miami. Never work.
Not to mention that she's a villain.
Yeah.
But I should have saved the other one too. The other panel where he makes a comment about her.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm.
it's too late. Too little too late.
No.
Next one. This is you.
Okay. Yeah, it's Bruce driving the boat with Robin and the boogie board behind him. I don't know what I'm calling it, a boogie board, but it's one of those things where
It
it's
could
like,
be a
it's
boogie
rope.
board. It could be a surfboard.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
While he's chasing the penguin in the car, like on the side street. Like Penguin should have just like taken a right and like gone closer toward the land, but
right.
it made for an exciting sequence, very James Bond like.
It is. It's a well drawn panel,
Yeah.
and it doesn't feel cheesy.
No, it doesn't. Despite
Yeah.
like a kid like on the boogie board, and it doesn't have that cheese factor. It
But
just
you know what
looks
does feel cheesy is like the panels that we put in towards the end that are like the next couple panels on the
Yeah.
same page,
Yeah.
where it's like the close up of him jumping
Mm-hmm.
the board and all that and jumping the ship.
Yeah, it definitely turns from like James Bond to like Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll get to those after these
yeah.
next couple ones here. I would have put these in 2, but I was only gonna put in the 1, which is the panel because you have 4 panels here. I would have put in the panel where he's like got the squid like wrapping its tentacle around him, and he's got his knife pulling out, and he's just like, oh boy, and he's gonna like kill the squid,
Yeah.
just like he kills all those other animals. I don't think he actually kills this squid though. I think he just stabs.
I think he just stabs it and it runs. Yeah, he stabs it and runs away.
Yeah,
Like because of the ink and yeah, it's getting all.
it's a
out of
good
there.
4-parter though because
Yeah.
the first part is like he cuts the squid's tentacle off to let
Mhm.
her go because she's being like strangled by the squid, and then the next part is the squid wraps him up, and then he's like pulls his knife out or like pulls his knife up like he's gonna stab it,
Yeah.
and then he goes for the stab with the next one, and then the squid like apparently knows he's gonna kill it, so it like opens its little beak mouth,
Mhm.
and then he stabs it like right in the face.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, and then the ink's like coming out everywhere.
Yeah,
Good
that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So after that, we got the one the penguin looking towards Batman, realizing oh shit, with the binoculars. That's good. It's good. It's very cartoony.
Yeah, in the binoculars, you can see Batman on the boat with his cape fluttering in the wind.
Yeah, I like that one. Egad the Batman substituting for our man.
Penguin's mouth is really scary looking. It's just
Yeah.
this little tiny hole in his
Yeah.
face. I like that this is like the Dick Tracy element here because I know that Bob Kane's a Dick Tracy fan, but
Mhm.
I like that some of the villains have like really overly exaggerated facial features.
Yeah.
That's something you don't get in the comics nowadays. Everybody looks very realistic. Or even if like now with the new Batman series where they're trying to make the Penguin look like Danny DeVito
Mhm.
from Batman Returns, he still looks real.
Yeah.
You know, like these old ones, they're such characters. Like they're so exaggerated. I
Just
love
how
it.
the times change.
I know, I love it.
Yep. So after that, we got Batman, the Dukes of Hazzard, like one I mentioned.
Jump in the boat
Yep.
off a platform.
It's a solid panel.
It's really good. The close up here, I think I put this one in here.
Mm-hmm.
It's Robin and he's on the boogie board or surfboard or whatever, and he's like, "Yippee, ride him, cowboy!" And then Batman's like, "Crazy kid,
Yeah.
like crazy kid, you made this kid into who he is. Like he's crazy because you're crazy."
Yeah. And then after that, we got Batman struggling with the bullets.
This is the one element that I think didn't make it feel like the Adam West show
Yeah.
because Batman would never get shot in that show,
No.
and definitely blood wouldn't be coming out of him.
It feels tonally like off from the rest of it.
Yeah.
But like it's still cool.
It is cool.
Like it takes a more dramatic turn. Now it's like, okay, yeah, he's like Batman just got shot over just like a gambling like den.
Well, and he powers through it until he can save Robin to make sure he's safe.
Yeah.
Every time Batman gets shot so far, I think we've added that panel.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been shot 3 times. This is the 3rd time.
Yeah. It's like interesting whenever it happens.
Yeah.
And like two in the like the ribs. Ouch.
You know, I really want to like take the panels that we have where he's been shot in the last couple like issues or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then look at that really awesome drawing or couple drawings that Alex Ross has done of Bruce Wayne with his shirt off
Mm.
and see if the bullet holes match up.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Like
Yeah.
how much thought was put into where the placement of those bullet holes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, does he have like a Catwoman scar like on his ribs, like where she stabbed him from Batman Returns, like that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the iconic like stabs and
Yeah.
bullets.
Like
yeah.
all the actual iconic wounds, are they there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was what was it? I was thinking I did see like a detail in like one of the either Man of Steel or Batman versus Superman movies where like one movie had like somebody damaged in one spot and then like you get to see it like if you blink and you squint you could find like the evidence of it in the next one.
Was it, what movie
I
was
don't
that?
remember.
It would be interesting to see if Superman had like a scar from being impaled by that kryptonite spear.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I think the juice like fully healed him.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
He's Superman.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We got a hurricane.
Yep. Batman bleeding. The blood's literally like dripping out of him. And he's like, mustn't stop. Must go on. Robin.
Yep.
I like his little inner monologue when he's in pain.
Yeah. The blood. It kind of sucks that they couldn't make it red. I understand why, but
This next panel here, it's Batman and he's like bleeding and Robin's like holding him up by the chest and he's like talking about Penguin. Then he's like, oh, because he's like bleeding out, you know, and he has no
Yeah.
strength. And then Robin's talking about getting him to the doctor. The way Batman is drawn in this panel, does it remind you of anything? Because it reminds me of something.
no, it's reminded me of.
Reminds me of Bat manga.
Ah, okay, I could see that. Yeah,
Like a lot.
yeah. It's kind of like the softer kind of like
It's
rounder.
the softer appearance and like the way that like his shoulders are so big and his head is so small.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Something
Very
about his
similar
cowl.
proportions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got those panels in there with Robin carrying Batman through the hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, I really like the cross hatching.
Yeah, the palm trees like completely bending over and everything like the sense of movement here with the wind blowing them. It's done really
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
Even like that shot of Batman like laying up against the tree with, and you can just see like the back of him and his cape. This is like one of the few times where you see Batman's back.
Hmm.
Because usually he's covered in a cape for dramatic
Yeah.
effect. But
And
you
the
actually
wind's
see his back, the back of his arms, his butt, the back of his belt,
Mhm.
because the wind is blowing so hard that it's blowing his cape like in a straight line to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good
And
stuff.
then I think you chose this last, like the last basically couple panels.
I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
The main reason was because on the last panel you have Robin staring right at the audience, and he's like, "Well, here, I might as well start with the whole thing here." So there's a little panel there's 3 panels. One is Batman talking to Robin, and then the middle panel is saying, "Yes, the Penguin was careless. He kept track of all the flying creatures but one, that winged creature of the night, the Batman." Right, and you think that would be the end, but then there's this little panel of Robin in close up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well what about me? I'm a bird too." A robin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, we know.
They're all bird themed.
All birds except for Batman because
except
he's
for
a bat.
that. Yep. The only mammal who can fly.
Yeah.
So, coming up next week, we are going to be talking about. We're going to be starting Batman number 12, Brothers in Crime. I really like that name. That's a
Good
great
name. And
Detective Comics 73, The Scarecrow Returns.
oh yeah.
If you missed his first appearance, it's the world's finest. I don't remember which episode, but we did cover it. It was our Halloween episode.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
It makes it easy to remember.
Yes, check out our Halloween episode if you missed his grand introduction where he gets beat up in a playground. Hopefully seems like he got over that dignity, and we'll see how he develops.
I don't think so. I think he'll never get over that.
No.
Nope.
So be sure to listen to our Behind the Bat. Like us on Twitter at Become a Bat Pod, and like us on whatever, and leave us a review. Thank you so much. Good night.
Later.